Okay, it feels like we need a refresher course about why foreign interference is a big problem. So take a look.
If a foreign government comes to you as a public official and offers to help your campaign, the right answer is no.
Foreign interference in U.S. elections is something that everybody should be worried about. Up until recently, it seemed like everybody was.
Foreign donors and certainly foreign governments cannot participate in the American political process.
In fact, it's been a concern since our country's birth. Our nation's founders were initially worried about secret influence from Great Britain after the Revolution. The framers were so concerned about foreign intervention, it's one of the reasons they added the impeachment provision in the first place. Working with a foreign government would be considered a high crime or misdemeanor. James Madison argued it was indispensable that some provision be made for defending the country against an official who might betray his trust to foreign powers. But despite the founders' best efforts, foreign governments have repeatedly tried to influence U.S. elections. Ahead of the 1796 election, the U.S. was worried about interference from France. French officials were actively working to oust Federalists like Alexander Hamilton in favor of Republicans like Thomas Jefferson, because Republicans were more supportive of France's war with Britain. At the time, George Washington said in his farewell address, quote, "Foreign influence is one of the most baneful foes of Republican government." And in 1940, both Britain and Nazi Germany tried to influence U.S. elections. British intelligence flooded U.S. newspapers with fake stories. Their goal was to defeat politicians who didn't want the U.S. to get pulled into World War II. Meanwhile, Nazi officials also funneled propaganda to American newspapers in hopes of stopping FDR's re-election. Obviously, they failed. Ahead of the 1968 election, Richard Nixon was running against then Vice President Hubert Humphrey. At the time, the Johnson administration was trying to make a deal with Vietnam to end the war. Nixon's campaign secretly tried to convince the Vietnam government to walk away from peace talks in an effort to make Johnson and Humphrey look incompetent. Nixon would win the presidency by less than a percentage point. And of course, there's the big winner of our 2016 election, Vladimir Putin. Russia was wildly successful in achieving its goal of exacerbating division and discord around our election, and we're still dealing with the fallout and seeing new attempts at interference from Russia. As the current fight over Team Trump's interaction with Ukraine plays out,
I made a call. The call was perfect.
To have another country manufacture dirt on his opponent, it is hard to imagine a more fundamental abuse of that office.
remember what George Washington said in his farewell address: "Against the insidious wiles of foreign influence, the jealousy of a free people ought to be constantly awake." Up